Liz here, and we are at EMO's Creative Studio, where anything and everything you create is beautiful because you created it. And today I want to just do a quick video on a sewing, well actually quilting term called chain piecing. Now, as you have seen in one of my previous videos, I talked to you and told you what piecing is all about. Now I'm going to show you what chain piecing is. I have two pieces of fabric that I want to connect, this one to this one, and I don't want to be wasting thread. So I've already started chain piecing. I put together right sides together, the small piece to the large piece, put it under my needle, and I'm using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'm running my thread here, or running my machine I should say. And instead of stopping, taking it out, cutting it, I'm going to save some thread. So I'm going to put my next piece, my next unit together. Right sides together. Make sure they're even, because this is a smaller piece of fabric, which is 2.5 inches wide. The top one is 2.5 inches square, and I believe this one is 4.5 inches long. I want to connect all these together, so I'm going to chain piece them together. Again, right sides together, line it up at my 1/4 inch, and on my particular machine, my walking foot is 1/4 inch wide, so I know I'm doing at least a scant or a very minute hair or 2 hair away from 1/4 inch. So I continue sewing. I don't sew fast because, as you see, I don't have any pins in it, so I want to make sure that it stays even so that it's not sewn crookedly. I'll take another set or unit, right sides together, make sure the edges are even all the way around, lift my presser foot, put it underneath, and slowly stitch a 1/4 inch seam allowance. The stitching length is at 2.5. I'll take another unit, right side, put together. You could pin it, but that'll take a little bit more time than what I would like to spend. Again, because it is a small piece of fabric, I don't have to worry about it because I can use my fingers to hold it down. Of course, I'm not sewing real fast, and when I sew real fast, my pieces tend to spread apart, and then I don't get even seam allowances. So I'm going to continue sewing. And you notice that when I finish at the end, I'm not lifting my presser foot, and I'm not taking the unit out, and I'm not cutting it. This saves on thread. No matter what technique you use, there's always going to be some kind of wastage or waste on thread, and this is one good way to help not waste as much thread. Now with this particular pattern of fabric, as you can see here, I've completed my little pile. So now I'm going to move on to the other color that I'm using for my project, and again I'm going to put right sides together, and I'm going to chain piece it, because in the end, and I'll show you once I'm done chain piecing a couple of more, when I'm done chain piecing, I will show you what I will do next after I sew or chain piece together my units. I'll do one more on camera, and then I'll come back after I've got all the units chain pieced together. See, very careful. We don't want to hurry up. We're not in a rush. It's the middle of September. I have until the middle of November to get these particular projects done. All right, I'll come back to you in a moment once I'm done chain piecing this bunch. Now I have all my units chain pieced together. So I'm going to raise up my presser foot, and I'm going to pull off the units that I chain pieced. And if you can see, it looks almost like a banner, if you can see right here. and it's sewn all the way across. Now imagine how much thread I just saved instead of sew, pull out, start again, sew. I'm saving these little ends right here. Can you see the little ends right here? All I'm doing is I am sewing it together so that it will save me thread. So now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut the threads in between so I can separate them. So you can see right here, I'm just cutting right in between the threads of the chain piecing part. They won't unravel. I didn't backstitch on any of them because the project that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be securing the stitches with another piece of fabric that I'll be placing on top. So you can see I'm just cutting in between. All of these little things that the units that I chain piece together. I just got 3 more to do, and then we're going to move over to the ironing board and I'm going to show you how I iron them open. So let's move over to the ironing board. As you can see, my ironing board is well worn, well used. I've used it quite a bit. I'll be recovering this soon. Just recovering it with a piece of 100% cotton. But I won't do that till I move up to the big studio upstairs. So what I like to do is I like to iron these, making the seam allowance go to the darker fabric, which is going to be the longer fabric. Get you further out. Move this away just a little bit so you can see. Maybe adjust you up a little. Sorry. So I'm going to put these with the little pieces of fabric of the 2.5 square dot face down. And I like to iron them 3 at a time. I actually start with the bottom row first, and I'll show you why I'm doing that. I usually do like 3 of them at a time. I think I've done a video where I talk about pressing versus ironing. Remember, this is ironing, this is pressing. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to set the seam. And just a quick reminder that setting the seam is I'm just warming up the fibers so that I can get a really nice, good fold. Let me see if I can do it with my right hand so that you can see. So I've set the seam, and now I'm going to open up my units, and I'm going to have the seam allowance face towards the darker fabric because this red fabric is a little bit see-through and I don't want to see the shadow of my seam. So I've opened up the first 3. I'm going to press, give it a shot of steam, press, a little shot of steam, and then I'm going to open up the next 3. And I kind of finger press it open as well, just to make sure that when I put the iron down, I don't lose the fold. Alright, as you can see, I now have 6 pieces that have been ironed open with the seam allowance going toward the darker fabric. I'm going to iron open the rest, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like after I have ironed everything open. As you can see here, I have all my units chain pieced and pressed open, and I've got them separated into the 2 different prints of fabric, and I'll put them to the side so that I can continue working on my table runner that I'm making. And as you can see here, I've already gotten the first 2 sewn in. This is a form of quilt as you go. I'm not adding the backing because I'm doing something just a little bit different. This is a prototype. Once I figure out how I'm going to do this and how I'm going to complete the table runner, I probably will make a video to show you how to do a modified quilt as you go. I'm not real good at quilting my lines or doing stitch in a ditch, so I'm still, even though I consider myself an expert novice, there's still some things that I have to learn how to do. So as you can see, my little piles are ready for me to continue making my table runner. Thank you for watching this short video on how to chain piece and how to press open chain piece items that you've done. My name is Liz. We are at EMOs Creative Studio, where anything and everything you create is beautiful because you created it. Like, subscribe, click on the little bell below so that you can get notified when I put up a video. I'm on social media under Facebook and Instagram as EMOS Liz. You can also email me at fancythingsindeed@gmail.com. So until the next video, happy quilting, happy sewing. Take care. Bye.